You see that new Charlie's Angels film? The all-female cast. Well, I guess the original's all-female. I almost said the all-female cast of Charlie's Angels, but then I was like, wait, wasn't the original Charlie's Angels an all-female?
No, it's all male.
They should do an all-male cast of Charlie's Angels, and
they all be gay as well. That'd be great. I think we need a good.
I was like, oh, it's got like Kristen Stewart in it, and then I was talking to my sister, and she was like, oh, look up the cast of it, because I said, who are the other two people? And I was like, they're probably two people you've never heard of. And I looked at it and I was like, yep, those are two people I've never heard of.
No.
And the other roles. And I'm like, I feel like there's a reason this film didn't do very well. And I was looking through the cast list, and then I saw Patrick Stewart as John Bosley, and I was like, that's a very different Charlie's Angels to the one you're used to. And that's
a lot of racism, man.
It's also a very different Tangerine to the one you're used to, because we're talking about Satisfactory.
Yeah, so I actually played this game.
You have, and then you rage quit very quickly and went back to Minecraft.
Yeah.
So initially, we were playing through multiplayer, which is a feature of Satisfactory. You can play this game multiplayer. We were playing through with you, and you decided that you didn't want to play anymore because you felt like you weren't participating enough in the multiplayer.
Yeah, I just find it annoying. It's like the early. For those who don't know, like there's central hub, like you can like unlock different left stages and like different tiers, which is a really cool mechanic. Except when you're multiplayer, especially at the start, because then it's like you're all trying to just like get the same material. Like, you're all trying to do the same thing at once, but you can only one of you can really do something at once. There's like not really any parallel tasks you can do. Also, so I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna leave.
Also, the multiplayer for Satisfactory is broken as fuck. They say that the single player is very buggy, but then they say the multiplayer is like completely broken. Basically, a lot of the time you'll just get like desynced from people. You won't be able to see where they are in the map. It seems like the way.
The other thing was I didn't actually tell you this, but like I was kind of like bugging out and glitching around, like people like teleporting over for me when I was playing. It's like, this isn't the greatest.
You'll see like ghosts of people and be like, oh, you're going over there, and it's like, no, that's just like the ghost of you going over there, sort of thing. That's not actually you. But it seems like if you place down like boxes and stuff and buildings, seems like buildings and conveyor belts and stuff have priorities over people for being in sync, which I think is the way to go. Definitely in a game like this, the machines are way more important than the people.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's just the way it is.
If you have to choose and like not just have both, like the machines over players, but I'd rather it wasn't annoying. That'd be great.
So if you don't know what this game is, this is Satisfactory. You kind of crash land on a alien planet, and the idea is that you have kind of these fabricator tools. And you're trying to build. Do
you crash land?
Yeah,
I feel like you intentionally land a one-way pod because of capitalism.
You just kind of crash into an alien world with nothing, sort of thing. And then
but I feel like it's completely intentional from like the people who sent you.
Okay, maybe a little bit Deep Rock Galactic then. But
I don't know if you remember like the intro trailer or not, or the intro cutscene, I guess. Like it's like
I remember that.
Voiceover. It's just like
but the idea is you get dropped slack bang in the middle of this planet, and then it's like, hey, you need to build stuff so we can get more stuff to build more stuff. That's kind of the core gameplay loop of this game is you're building a factory to build more factory sort of thing. Kind of like if you've ever played like it's kind of like a 3D Factorio. If you ever played like Minecraft mod. You have that kind of what's the word, progression through different tech levels, like something like Sev Tech almost.
The idea is like logistic chains and like manufacturing and things, which is
that's one thing to take into account with multiplayer is everybody progresses at the same time in multiplayer through the technology milestones. So make sure
it's free linear as well.
So you're kind of incentivized to build together, but then people want to build a very tidy factory, and then I want to build a very messy factory, and that's when arguments can arise where people...
And Dave wants a border wall.
Yeah. No, I think Matt built the border.
Oh, right, for the border.
Because he was like, Dave's taking up too much space, I'm going to build the border so we can, like, claim this land before he gets to it. I don't think we have footage. I don't think I have footage of it, but... It's great. We've got like a full-scale passport control between Dave's base and our base, sort of thing.
Okay.
But like,
I heard there's a demilitarized zone as well.
Yeah, there's the DMZ where, of course, much like North and South Korea, there's just no man's land.
I think I'm going to make a Star Trek reference there. It's much
usually
like
there's
Federation and Romulans.
Usually there's giant frogs walking through it. Another thing that's cool is that it is an alien world, so there is giant weird creatures moving around, and you kind of have to factor them into your factories, because sometimes a giant frog will just walk through your factory. Or
the other thing as well is like you get sent down. Like if you see any like new things that you can research, like send it back to the hub and
there's a building. I don't think you would have used this in the tutorial when you were playing, Tony, but there's a very interesting building called the MAM, and what that does is when you build that, you can basically put resources into it, and then you scan them to unlock new recipes. It's very useful early game, I'd say. It's probably one of the things you want to build very early on, but you can like kill the alien species and then take their organs and stuff, and then research those organs in order to build stuff like, oh, I can build better medical resources. I'm going to cut down flowers, and then I'm going to build like a paint gun, and now I can paint my factory and stuff like that. There's lots of like great stuff. There's things called blade runners as well, which you can build, which let you like sprint faster and jump higher. You can research like cloth and build parachutes and stuff. It's really cool. There's tons of really cool stuff in this. I think the fact that there is so many transportation options, because obviously the main way you move stuff around is on conveyor belts. That is through logistics. Yeah. I'd have to say probably logistics is one of my favorite things in the game. I love conveyor belts, and I love building little conveyor belt tracks. It is very fun. I also love transportation, because you get access to lots of different transportations. My favorite transportation would have to be the hypertube, which is basically if you have seen Futurama, those tubes that suck up people and then transport them around very quickly.
Yeah, they're like, I don't know if you know history enough, like they're like pneumatic tubes where like you'd like in skyscrapers they'd have like send letters up tubes.
Yeah, pneumatic tubes,
but for people instead of letters, and much bigger, of course.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that the one big thing that I think this game like beats like modded Minecraft is like which I have like the most experience with, and like Factorio seconds. It's like they actually give you a reason to like expand and like try and get more resources, sort of thing. Like the resources are like kind of spread out across the map, so it is in your best interest to make a more efficient logistics system in that regards. Although there's a point where like things get backlogged and it's like it doesn't really matter anymore. But like that's not true for everything. So.
Yeah, I just love how much customization you have of how you want to build your factory.
Yeah.
There's so many ways you can build your factory, and so many ways you can do stuff with it. Like, of course, you can have the hypertubes like me, but as Tony was alluding to it, you could build a fucking train that goes and picks up resources, drives across the map, drops them off, refuels itself, and then comes back. Because you can drive vehicles in this game, and then you can record the way that they drive, and then you can just set it to a computer to play back on loop, to set it to move stuff around, sort of thing.
It's actually a really good system. I kind of like that. I think Victoria still has I think the train system of Victoria is still better, but I think that's just like
one thing I will say about vehicles is they're unusable in multiplayer because of the delay, sort of thing. So the host can drive around vehicles of the multiplayer session. But because of how much desync and delay there is in the multiplayer, it's pretty impossible to use, sort of thing. There's other transportation stuff, like there's jump pads, and of course there's full damage in this game, so you also have to build like these jelly pads out of like biomass to catch yourself. I'm a big fan.
The height stuff in this game is crazy.
this like very early game technology is biomass. So the way you power your machines is you cut down trees and then you turn that into biomass or biologs or whatever, biofuel, and then you put that into your generators. And the way that they do energy in this game is great as well, because everything has a maximum capacity sort of thing. So you can only hook up so many machines before you have too much hooked up. So you have to build more generators. And then
I quite like the thing. I quite like the thing as well is like if you put too much in, like say like you've got like you're generating like an X amount of power and like you use too much power, like, everything just shuts down. So I love that. Like it sounds annoying, but like it actually like forces you to progress.
It forces you to like the best thing to do is at the beginning you have like you'll build like a copper farming factory like miles away, and then you'll build one generator for that miner, one generator for that constructor, and then you'll conveyor belt it back to your base. But then you start to realize, well, if I have all my generators next to each other and then I connect everything up with wires and have a grid, I can just do all of my energy management in one place. And having this big grid makes it a lot easier. And that's when you like once you realize small stuff like that, that's when Satisfactory takes you and you realize that you're just building more and more efficient factories and losing more and more time. And that's one of the great, like everything, like different node, you start to realize like, oh, this is a poor node. This node only gives me 30 iron. This is a pure node. This gives me a production of 120 iron. So now, instead of having it go into one smelter, which then sends out 30 production, I can then split it up into 4, which will maximize my optimization on making these iron bars. And then the optimization on that, I can then split that up into different constructors to make rods and plates and whatever. And then it makes sense. I feel like when you explain it to someone, they're like, "Oh, okay, this sounds really complicated," but it's like a slow burn. Like it starts off very simple, and when you play it, it makes sense, and the more you play it, the more you understand.
You start facing like one problem at a time, and you realize that you've accidentally made your factory way more efficient. And there's still like sometimes you have like to do a massive overhaul of your factory, but like that doesn't happen that often, to be fair. So
I feel like there's very good progression in the game. I think around coal and steel, I think it gets a lot more complicated, sort of thing. I think it slows down a bit after that point. When you get into like oil and coal generators and that sort of stuff. I haven't been too deep into the later game sort of thing, so I'm not sure. There's definitely some stuff in the game, like there's these Mercer things, and they do absolutely nothing, but I think the idea is that you would scan them and there would be some sort of story of the world. This game doesn't really have a story at this point. It was definitely just kind of a factory. One thing I didn't know, I'm upgrading my conveyor belts here from Mark 1 to Mark 2, which makes it a lot faster, which means my factory's more efficient. One thing I was doing is I was deleting all of my conveyor belts and replacing them with Mark 2s. One thing I didn't know is you can just click on them with a Mark 2 selected, and then you can it will automatically upgrade them instead of having to delete them. There's tons of stuff like this that you just learn by playing. Like there's a way to like mass delete stuff. There's a way to copy paste buildings, sort of stuff. If you see my hotbar down there, that's fully customizable, and as well, I can also have multiple hotbars and multiple different things on them as well. There's cool stuff like that. Yeah,
and also quality of life features they generally
it's like somebody like you know when you're playing like a Tekkit on Minecraft mode, it's like you have all of these cool like buildings you can make, and it's like, man, if they made this with Minecraft was made with this stuff in mind, they could have done like all these cool little features. But it feels like Satisfactory was made with all of the things you want to do in mind, and it all just exists there. It definitely go on.
I was saying, Tekkit, like going back to like previous things we were saying, like, you know, like because like, you know, like saying like, oh, centralized grid made sense in Satisfactory, right?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like in Tekkit it never made sense to do that. It's like I feel like they actually balanced like the ideas behind it well. It's like, oh my god, like making a grid, like managing your grid is like really cool. Whereas in something like a modded Minecraft, like it's way easier just to make a small generator like in a faraway land. And also like they always like Minecraft's not really designed to be like having this like sprawling base. Like it's designed like a really tall base, I guess.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I just feel like it's kind of like just takes the idea of Factorio, kind of combines with some parts of Minecraft as well. In a way, it doesn't have like some like the same crafting or anything, but it is it has like all the parts I love from modded Minecraft. So
that's for sure. I think like I've got like 30 or 40 hours of this game already. I feel like I played like 34 hours in the first couple of weeks of owning the game. Like it is that fun. Like it's crazy fun sort of thing. I have 53.6 hours in this game. So I've played it quite a lot for the limited amount of time it's been out, even on Steam sort of thing. So it's definitely really fun, and when you get into it, you start to realize how much you can do in the game. Like I've seen some like YouTube videos of people who just build like crazy conveyor belts and crazy like stuff like that, and it's just really your imagination is the limit on this game sort of thing. But I'd highly recommend it. Probably one of the best factory building kind of survival games. Very fun to play with friends as well if you want to play multiplayer. The single player is a lot less buggy if you want to do stuff like
I prefer single player way more to multiplayer. I'd just say that.
But yeah, that's actually check this game out if it looks like it interests you. I've had a lot of fun on it. And the next game we'll talk about is TF2 Classic. Tony, do you understand what the hell is going on here at the moment? This is
Overwatch.
This is Payload Race with 4 factions.
What?
Payload Race exists in the normal TF2. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, but no, not really. But okay, how does racing work? Like, if it gets
everyone has to push their own payload, and the first one to get there wins.
That sounds.
But
really
the
cool.
amazing, mind-blowing thing, Tony, is I'm using a nail gun. And also, there's 4 factions all fighting to push their own individual payload cart, and it's confusing.
It's not red versus blue.
No, it's. I mean, in the original TF2 Classic, sorry, the original TF Classic, I believe there was 4 factions, sort of thing.
Right.
But it never made its way to TF2. But the idea of this Team Fortress 2 Classic mod is they're adding a bunch of ideas back to the game. Like if you saw the guy who was stood next to the fat chap on the payload, that's the VIP. So the original payload game mode wasn't going to be a physical payload. It was going to be a VIP played by a member of your team who you would have to escort through the mission to win the level, sort of thing. So they've added the VIP as a class you can play as, and the VIP's benefits are that they only have an umbrella, but they can buff up your team and make them run faster. And I think they give them resistances and stuff, maybe, which is pretty cool. You buff up your teammates.
Oh, so it actually goes through the umbrella, does it?
Yeah, but basically they're pretty defenseless because they only have the melee weapon sort of thing. But then, if someone gets too close, they can whack them with the umbrella if they're skilled enough, sort of thing.
Right. Okay.
So here I'm using the nail gun on the scout, and the nail gun's a very interesting gun because if you're a big TF2 fan like me, you know that this was a actual planned item to be added to TF2 sort of thing, but they never got around to adding it. But basically the idea of Team Fortress 2 Classic was they're just gonna take a bunch of cut content that was meant to be in like the original TF2 and then re-add it here, sort of thing, and then add some of their own stuff as well.
Okay.
Some of the more interesting stuff is there's a new sniper weapon that's like a sniper pistol. That's pretty interesting. Of course, we have the 4 teams. There's a tranquilizer gun.
Is this map like I don't understand. It's like a test map. It's like, does it meant to look?
Yeah, it's like you see, those are like dev textures from Hammer. So there are maps that are fully made. I don't have footage of them because I just did this quick one.
Yeah, I see it's just fully made, but like intended to look like it's an unfinished map.
No. I think these are just dev textures because they're still building.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's still like a relatively new mod sort of thing. It's only recently had its big update because, much like TF2, they wanted to release the website update with the update itself, sort of thing. Like the update wasn't gated by the game; it was gated by the fact they hadn't done the assets for the website page yet to have the big update page, sort of thing, which I think is pretty funny.
Yeah.
I think one of the big.
I was saying I'm really liking these other colors, like yellow. I'm really liking yellow actually. Like I like red, blue. Doesn't look good as yellow.
I found it super confusing at first. I kept like shooting my teammates and then being like, "Oh, you're on green team. You're on my team," and I'm like, "Wait, no, I'm yellow." I think Demo Man has the most new weapons. You have like a bundle of TNT you can throw. There's also the mine launcher, which is pretty interesting, where you can fire mines that you can't explode, but if someone stands on them, they automatically explode, sort of thing, which is pretty interesting.
Oh, okay.
That's another element to the game. I wasn't a big fan of the tranquilizer gun for the spy. Basically, it makes you like if you get shot by the tranquilizer gun from the spy, it like makes your rotating speed like super slow, and your screen goes all like LSD. You have like a bunch of colors on your screen and stuff like that. That's how the tranq gun works. Yeah, there's tons of great. I've played a lot of this. I got some friends to install it, and I played with them. I should have grabbed some more footage of that. But yeah, it's just fun to play TF2 again in a way I haven't played it before, sort of thing. It was very active at the time recording. I mean, I think it was last month. It just come out, sort of thing. So there's definitely lots of people playing it. There are other TF2 projects. There's stuff like Open Fortress, which is a TF2 mod that kind of changes it to be more like a Quake Arena sort of thing. But it was just fun playing in a environment where there was new items, but it was also good because there were items that were added to TF2 that I thought were slightly problematic. Like I think I wasn't a big fan of the Dead Ringer for the spy, so it was quite fun to play on a game where I didn't have to like kill a spy like 3 or 4 times because he had the Dead Ringer watch, and I didn't know if he was really dead or not. This is like the hunting pistol sort of thing, so you don't have to charge it up, but there's no benefit for staying scoped in like the original sniper rifle. Right. So it's a very quick kind of mid-range sort of sniper build, similar to how the Huntsman works, sort of thing. They did add some items from the TF2 updates that were added that they thought were quite good. Like they added the gunboats from the soldier, so you could rocket jump.
Oh right, okay,
stuff like that, where it just didn't make sense not to add it because it was a good update to the game, sort of thing. Hopefully, people keep playing this. I love TF2, so I'm always going to play stuff like this.
Well, as we keep remembering that it's not a dead game, so.
TF2 is like Schrodinger's game. It is systematically everyone's like the game's dead, but then also it has such a core fan base that will always play it, sort of thing, that it's alive at the same time, sort of thing.
I always find it fun to watch when I do. So
it's quite a cool game, yeah.
Yeah, I do like TF2 quite a lot. Never played it, never installed it.
Never will.
I've seen a lot of it.
Yeah.
Probably never will.
Yeah, I don't think there's any like hats or any. Before the hat insanity as well. Yeah.
I'm okay with that, actually.
This is a fun mod. Go and check out the TF2 Classic page, which has instructions of how to play this if you want to play this. You need the Source SDK 2013 multiplayer branch as well. I thought, I have the Source SDK 2013 single player branch because I play so many Half-Life 2 mods, I should be fine. No, you also need the multiplayer branch as well if you want to play this mod, so that's something to not get caught out by. I think if this was like, if you could just download this from Steam, it would be like so many more people would play it, sort of thing. Like,
yeah,
when you have that barrier of entry to a game, it like makes such a huge difference to like mods and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that is TF2 Classic and Satisfactory. 2 awesome games I've been playing. And yeah, check those out if you're interested. Goodbye.
Bye.